Kristina Ribali from FreedomWorks joining us once again on the program. Kristina, thank you so much for your time tonight.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You had a response to Piers Morgan. We've seen a lot of celebrities, vapid celebrities, talk about their attitudes towards gun control and gun ownership and the Second Amendment. Piers Morgan said earlier this week that the Second Amendment was designed with muskets in mind. The founding fathers could not have envisioned handguns or assault weapons. Fact. And you really said people will be better off without owning handguns. You've got a pretty personal response to this, and this is really a story that you really just shared earlier this year for the first time, right?
Yeah, I mean, my friends and close friends and family had known, and people that we were going through this whole process with at the time knew what we were dealing with. But it wasn't, when this was happening 10 years ago, there wasn't social media, there wasn't easy ways to get it out, and so you just, unlike today, you can share it with tens of thousands of people in a matter of moments. You share it with your friends. So I did just share about it, really very publicly this year. In July, after the Aurora shooting, I wrote a blog post which got a lot of attention. And then again, here we are again talking about banning guns after a senseless tragedy. And I thought I would share it again. And this time, Jim Garrity was nice enough to pick it up and put it in his daily paper.
So, do you mind sharing your story with us, Kristina?
No, of course not. This happened about 10 years ago, and my husband used to do a lot of weekend guard duties, being part of the National Guard, and we had a very young child at the time, and I would often be alone on the weekends. And make a long story short, one summer evening, the first time we ever noticed that this was happening was on a hot summer evening, and I was getting ready for bed in the bathroom, doing everything that you do, and my husband decided he would just go and make sure, doors are locked and windows are shut, and just happened to peer out a side bedroom window and saw a man standing at my bathroom window, peering in through me, committing a lewd act as he watched me get ready for bed.
Oh, dear.
And so my husband, grabbed the shotgun, ran out the side door, and by that time the guy had heard the commotion. I didn't even know it was happening because he didn't yell and tell me. He just ran out the side door and went after the guy. Well, the guy got away. And so we reported it immediately, and the cops said, "Oh, well, we probably should let you know that in this neighborhood, this guy has a history of that," and told us this guy's history. He had a 15-year history of thieving and trespassing. Also had been arrested for methamphetamine use, and so we started to research the guy's record. Fast forward, we found, years, like I said, of this behavior, and we know of at least 4 times he entered our backyard. I'm sure there was other times because I'm certain we didn't catch him every time, but we did everything that we could do. We raised our fence. We put in obscured glass. We got motion detector lights. We even got a guard dog, which unfortunately he was too unsafe to keep around the kids, so we had to get rid of him. But we did everything to keep him out of our yard, including filing restraining orders. And the laws were such where, because he didn't enter the property and because he didn't touch me, it wasn't considered a sexual assault or anything like that. It was just considered trespassing. So he would just get slapped on the wrist, and he would be out of jail in a couple weeks, sometimes a couple days. So the very last time that this happened, it happened again in another summer evening, and I actually saw him trying to peer in through another window where my mother was. She was visiting us, and I waited till he approached the door, and I chambered the round of in our Mossberg shotgun, which, as you know, is an unmistakable sound.
Yeah.
And right there at the window, I just waited till he got close enough where I knew he could hear it, and I chambered the round, and he ran, and I called the police again, and they caught him. Well, this time I had the opportunity to testify against him in court at a sentencing hearing. He ended up getting 14 months this time in jail. And one of the things I told, the judge, I went through the entire litany of everything we had done to protect our home and our family and our children. And I said, and the very last thing I ever thought I would do, really is carry a handgun because I do have children in the home. But I'm getting my concealed carry license, and I will not be a victim, and I will stop at nothing to protect my children because that's what a mother does. And the judge said, sir, I don't think she's joking. And I said, no, I'm not. And he never has bothered us again. Now,
but you say he's bothered other women.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. He's been back in jail multiple times since then. Now, we have moved, but I still live in a small town. It's not hard to know where I live. But I know that he's never come near me again. In fact, he saw me one time in a post office and ran out the door. So I know that he knows. I know that he knows that I carry, and even though the post office can't carry, he saw me in there and turned about face and ran out the door. But he did go on to his crimes escalated. He tried to remove screens, was also convicted of attempted rape. The peeping continued. And so from my perspective, there's nothing else that I could have done that would have stopped this man.
Yeah.
He needed to know that I was not afraid of him, that I would not be his victim, that I was not going to be, another person on his list to harm. And I can feel very comfortable today that I'm always prepared, that I have the ability to protect my children, whether or not my husband is here. It's empowering, and also, I would just say to Piers Morgan, what would you want me to do? Call the police? We did that. We
Right.
did that a half a dozen times. He had a restraining order. He had a don't contact order. All of the police know. Like I said, I live in a very small town. The police chief goes to my church. He knows me. He knew the situation. It's not like they didn't want or try to protect me. They
Kristina,
just physically can't be there everywhere.
Did he or any other law enforcement officer ever say, all right, so you guys do have a gun, right? Or anything like that?
To us? Oh, the police. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the very first time that it happened, the police officer was asking, tell us exactly what happened. And my husband said, when I saw him, my very first instinct was to grab the shotgun and run after him.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop said, that's a really good instinct. It was like, because don't run after him without the shotgun,
Right,
that was
right.
the first thing my husband did was ran after him with the shotgun. And, because he wasn't going to go out there and get in a fist fight with the guy, because you just don't know what he has, and knowing now what we know, that the man is a repeat methamphetamine user, do you think that I could stop a guy hopped up on crack or meth or any? No. You're out of your mind. And I'm not a little girl. I'm a 6 foot tall,
Right.
woman, but I'm not a petite little wallflower, but still, I know that if I had to defend myself against a man, the only way that I could really do it is to have a firearm.
And here's the thing. I mean, we could get into this argument, and I think sometimes people like Piers Morgan and Bob Costas, they think of their own perspective. And Bob tonight said on Bill O'Reilly, I would never have a firearm for something. Never, no, wouldn't want that. I don't want Bob Costas or anybody else to go around thinking, all right, you look fit enough that you don't need a gun. You, on the other hand, okay, you're a little older, so you get to have, let's say, a 22. You get, it's our right, damn it. And as you pointed out, Kristina, this guy kept breaking law after law after law after law. And your order of protection was a piece of paper, ultimately, because he didn't care what it said. He was willing to do the crime, or willing to do the time, and commit this crime and make your life a living hell, to put your family at risk. And you did everything that Piers Morgan would say you should have done, but ultimately Piers Morgan and Bob Costas and the rest of these folks would say, Kristina, just leave it up to this guy. Put your safety and your family's safety and your sanity in the hands of this guy, and just let him be in charge, because it's not the police and it's not you. Ultimately, they want you to be a victim.
Right. Well, and for me, it was a matter of I knew that he was not going to stop. If you would have seen this man's mugshot and the look in his eyes, I knew, I mean, this was a stalker. This was somebody that was fixated on me. And I know, looking back now, that there's nothing that I could have done differently, that there's nothing that I personally could have done to stop him other than what we did, which was, number one, chamber a shotgun round at the window. You will never, ever forget that sound. And number two, tell him straight to his face in court, look, I am going to get my concealed weapons permit in Oregon. We call it a CHL, but concealed handgun license, and I will carry and I will protect my family. And, you know, people that know me now know I spend a lot of time at the range. I shoot a lot. I own a lot of guns. You know, I grew up, my father was a police officer, so I never, ever had anything against guns. It was just, at the time, it was a matter of a personal decision of, I don't know that I want handguns in the home when we have children.
Right.
But this changed everything. This changed everything because it was like, no, I have to have guns in the home now because I have children.
And
both
I'm sorry, I hate to
Okay.
interrupt, Kristina, but I was just going to ask: are you less freaked out now? You are aware, you're comfortable with the fact that it is possible to be a responsible gun owner when you have kids in the home?
Yeah, absolutely. And my son is 14, and we bought him his first rifle when he was 10, and he now shoots for 4-H.
Nice.
And you know, my daughter is comfortable around them but doesn't like to shoot. But you know what? She still comes with us to the range because she needs to have that comfort level. She reloads for me. She sits there and loads my magazines for me. You know, she doesn't like to shoot the weapons, but she knows how to handle them, and she wants to be around us so that she understands, you know, and it's a matter of safety. But when she decides that she wants to, great. And if she never decides she wants to, that's fine too. But I'm going to teach my children to be responsible around them, how to handle them, to know how to use them, you know, and people know now that I travel a lot. And there are times where, you know, I have no doubt in my mind that my son could protect his sister. I have no doubt in my mind.
Well, you know, I don't know if you remember that story. It was about 6 weeks ago or so. The 12-year-old in Oklahoma who was home by herself, and the intruder came in, and she called her mom on the phone, and her mom told her where to find the gun, and this young lady ended up having to defend herself as the guy, you know, burst through the closet door where she was hiding.
Yep. I mean, we have to understand that, you know, and I wrote this in my blog post, evil is present, and it's not going to go away because you choose to ignore it or because you choose not to defend yourself against it. Evil has been present since, you know, the day man first sinned, and it's not going to go away. And if you know, and I get this question a lot, especially from my girlfriends who have children, and they ask me, Kristina, do you really feel comfortable with guns in the home? And I tell them, yes, I would not feel comfortable without them. And I hope that moms especially will learn, especially, you know, we're in a society now where women are waiting till they get married. They're waiting longer. We have a lot of single parents. There's a lot of single mothers out there. It is your responsibility to protect your child. Nobody else is going to do it. And if you know, you have to do that. And I would just tell women, you know, do whatever you are comfortable with and the level of protection that you know you would use, whether it's a taser, whether it's pepper spray, whether it's a gun, get something. But for me in my house, we use guns.
Well, listen, Kristina, I'm really thankful that you could come on the program tonight and share your story, and I'm really thankful that your story has a happy ending, and I look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Kristina Ribali joined us from FreedomWorks here tonight on Cam & Company. And again, I think that qualifies for a Hero of the Day story, don't you?